so I love that framing of a push and a pull and having someone that believed in you, helping you to kind of believe in yourself enough to go and take this kind of leap of faith, which is hilarious because it's very similar to obviously what founders go through every time they have to found a business. But I'm curious on that. You have that experience, you maybe doubt a little bit of your abilities or you have that imposter syndrome. You end up overcoming that and obviously launching this firm and having a lot of success with it. What have you learned from that experience that you would tell somebody who maybe is stuck in imposter syndrome mode about launching their own firm or taking that leap?
Oh, yeah. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I will advise and have advised folks to really push their own limits of what they think is possible in terms of the risk they can take. If they're thinking if they should do it, they should just go do it and figure it out. That said, for someone who's as sort of analytical as I am, I really, for every decision, whether it's an investment or a career decision, I really have to look at the scenario of outcomes. And so for me, it's getting excited about what the upside is if it can work. And as an early stage investor or someone who goes to take this risk, like you really have to be a little bit crazy to sort of believe the teeny tiny upside percentage potential is real enough that you can go make a bet to try to make it happen. But then you also have to be realistic, I think, about the downside. And when you map out the downside, it often turns out it's not as bad as your brain or what my coach and I call our saboteurs are really telling us. So to be just actually super analytical about saying what's the worst situation that could happen, what are you really scared of, you find it's actually not all that bad. It's okay, falling flat on your face when you've launched this venture fund. I think a lot about sort of outcomes, if they're tied to the right decision, bad outcome, no one can really blame you for how things turned out. And we're in the business of taking risk. So I think just getting really comfortable with all of those scenarios is how I was able to decide to make that leap. And I think for very linear, rational thinkers, often whom have trouble taking that kind of jump, it can be a helpful exercise.
I love that. I love the kind of downside planning or thinking part. It sounds really similar to, I've heard it called fear setting exercise, where you basically, you're sitting down and you're saying, what's the worst that could happen, to obviously get comfortable there, because otherwise it's just this amorphous, not very clearly articulated thing in your head. It's
exactly
difficult to overcome.
On that framework, though, you also have to be careful, or at least I do, because I often can end up making the upside case of a scenario my target case. And once you're sort of underwriting that the teeny tiny upside probability is what you're striving to, you're literally just setting an expectation that you're probability wise not going to hit. And so I think just consistently using that downside target upside framework and sort of readjusting expectation setting has been a really helpful way for me to make decisions and handle unexpected situations.